Welcome to this new lesson on the Subcontracting and Partnership Exchange Center. This lesson will deal with the promotional aspects of the Subcontracting and Partnership Exchange Center, SPX, as well as the profiling of suppliers that will be part of the database of the SPX Center. Let me start by giving you an outline. First of all, there is a preparatory phase for the SPX. So what needs to be put in place for the SPX to start its operation smoothly? What is the staffing of the center? And what kind of information needs to be collected beforehand before the moving towards the operational phase? One aspect of this is the client definition. The SPX has to understand what client it is looking for and which clients it wants to serve through its services. Promotion is a very important aspect. At the beginning of the SPX, the clients do not know about the range of services that the SPX provides. So it is important that the potential users and the potential clients are being familiarized and sensitized about the value added that the SPX can bring. And then after these three sections have been dealt with, we will discuss the operational phase. And one aspect of the operational phase is the profiling, the industrial profiling of suppliers in a given country. So we continue on the preparatory phase. It starts with an institutional diagnosis. First of all, it is important to understand that the SPX Center is not a standalone center, but it is to be integrated in an existing institution that has a mandate of SME development or providing support to SMEs. So the definition of the best type of an organization is important. So organizations, private sector associations come to mind here. For example, the Chamber of Commerce or the Industrial Association, or a sector association, for instance, representing the metal sector or representing the plastic sector. But also public sector organizations can be a potential host for the SPX. So these could be SME development agencies or investment promotion agencies, or in very rare situations, even a department within a ministry, the government, in which case this may be the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Once the type of organization has been determined, the potential linkages to the SPX, to the SMEs, will be assessed. So different organizations have different outreach program already ongoing in the country, and it is important that not to reinvent the wheel, but to piggyback, to leverage existing programs and make the SPX, if possible, an aspect of these programs. The institution that is hosting the SPX should ideally have partnerships with financial institutions, as well as academia. This is important because the clients of the SPX are SMEs, and the supplier assessment will perhaps yield to the need or point to the need for the SMEs to upgrade. And upgrading requires finance. So if there is a memorandum of understanding or a partnership with an existing financial institution, a major bank, or an equity, a venture capital association, or the like. This can be very helpful when it comes to supplier development and supplier support. The in-country presence of the host institution is also very important. Very often, mistake is being made that the SPX only focuses on SMEs located in the capital. But depending on the country context, the manufacturing can be very dispersed and perhaps being close to other urban areas than the capital, or being close to places where raw material or deposits of raw materials exist. So the institution should have a good in-country presence, both in the urban areas, but also the sub-regions of a country. And then the assets that are required for the SPX project are very key. Of course, the first asset are people. People are the drivers of the SPX. They are the ones reaching out to suppliers. They are the ones spearheading promotional campaigns. So they have to be committed, but they also have to have certain formal qualifications. And the SPX, the technicality of the SPX requires that at least one person or more people of the center should have an engineering background. So it is hopefully these qualifications can be found within the host institutions for the SPX. The financial situation is equally important because once the project is over that UNIDO implements in partnership with the association or the public sector institution, the operations need to be sustained, and that naturally requires putting in the own financial resources. And finally, facilities like office space, equipment are important. When at the preparatory phase, it is also very important to explain clearly the benefits that the SPX has for the institution as such. First of all, it gives the institution visibility of being a player in SME development in the country. In the case of a private sector association, but also public sector association, it helps them to enlarge the client base. There's word of mouth propaganda, so if certain SMEs like the services of the SPX, they spread the news to other partner SMEs, and they may eventually decide to join the SPX client base. Policy advocacy instrument is another benefit to the SPX host. So the institution is working within a political context in the country, and by reaching out to SMEs in those manufacturing sectors that are relevant for subcontracting, it also gets a lot of information about challenges in the business climate, about difficulty to access financial channels, about infrastructural challenges. And these can be packaged and presented to government to actually do something about it and trigger policy reforms that are more conducive for the SME sector. So policy advocacy is a channel to be achieving this. Networking opportunities, the SPX centers, given that it is a global program, SPX centers can network with other SPX centers in the region and do regional promotion, regional campaigns, and exchange opportunities, business opportunities at the regional level. And then the access to state-of-the-art tools that are provided within the framework of the project. These tools are being provided by UNIDO, and we will explain in more detail in subsequent modules what these tools actually are. Before the SPX is rushing to reaching out to companies and buyers, it is important to establish certain work ethics or certain code of conducts. First of all, the SPX should not discriminate against or favor certain suppliers. So, in particular, the SPX should not only go after the easy ones or the ones that are commercially viable, but should really in its client base have a good mix of those that require upgrading and those that constitute quick wins for buyer-supplier matchmaking. The second point is that the SPX does not substitute for specialized commercial services. So obviously there are other players in the country, in particular professional consultancy firms that provide services on a profit-making basis. This is not the intention of the SPX. The SPX is trying to cover up for its cost by opening up certain income stream, but it should not become a profit-oriented endeavor. The SPX also should give advice to SMEs that are planning their production process, but the boundary between advice and interference is a very tricky one. So that well, advice is good, but the SPX should not really interfere in the ins and outs and in the technicalities of the production process of the companies. So withdrawing from the details is also important. The SPX should promote transparency. And what that means, it should not suppress free competition, but on the contrary, it should encourage competition. It should, by means of better information, contribute to the emergence of a more transparent and competitive market. So transparency is also key. The SPX does also not enter into commercial dialogue or supplier-buyer negotiations. So it facilitates that these dialogues and negotiations are happening, but once it gets technical, once it becomes contractual between the two parties, it is important for the SPX to withdraw from this process and move on to facilitating other matchmakings. And perhaps one of the most important aspects is to keep confidentiality and to have full integrity in its operations. Confidentiality is important insofar as through the applications of the SPX tool, a lot of company-level information is being collected, information that may point to strength of the company, but may also indicate certain weaknesses of the company. And the company may definitely not like it that the word spreads about the weaknesses, unless that company has been asked and specifically agreed to that for, say, promotion purposes or the like. Staffing the center, I mentioned this already. This is very important, the human resource aspect. The SPX manager is heading the center, basically. Then we have at least 2 SPX engineers, 1 engineer responsible for the supplier profiling, and 1 for supplier benchmarking. What this exactly is, we will explain in later modules. 1 administrative assistant to handle logistics and sending out invitations, maintaining the website, etc. And then IT support, especially to make sure that the database is not get stale, or that also the website is always up to date, and so on. One more word on the SPX manager. That person should come within the should be nominated from within the host institution, and obviously that person should have a good recognition inside that institution. So the ability to reach out to the highest management of the host institution is important, but also the ability to mediate and to bring together different departments of the organization when it makes sense for the SPX is something that is crucial. Of course, industrial experience is a must. So the SPX manager should have worked in the sectors that apply for the SPX. That means metal, plastics, and he or she should have had exposure, perhaps even as a CEO of a company in such sectors, so that this experience can be brought to bear for the future interventions. Communication and promotion skills is another very important aspect for the management. And since the SPX manager has staff who is working with him or her, the motivation aspects are very important. So that because the staff also, as much as the SPX manager, the staff represent the face of the SPX towards the companies. So and obviously, if they are motivated, they would convey the message more convincingly and more positively. And a creative thinker. Not everything is standardized and templated, but the ability to seize opportunities, to think out of the box is something that should also part of the repertoire of the SPX manager. Now the SPX office. The SPX office should be within the host institution, and it should be centrally located so that the outreach to companies is easy and is not too much time is lost on traffic and logistics. There should be a dedicated office space to receive external visitors. That is also important because that gives the first impression on how professional the SPX really is the first look and the first impression that an external visitor has on about the offices will very much determine the interest that this person or this CEO may have to work with the SPX in the future. Meeting room and training facilities. Obviously, there is a lot of capacity building happening, so the facilities for this should be there. Equipment. Computers is a must, telephone, copy machine, internet connectivity, which is good, or broadband internet connectivity is nowadays a must in managing a modern office. And then mobility. Since not all aspects of the work will be done in the office, but there will be a lot of company visits, a car or a dedicated vehicle for SPX definitely helps. So I mentioned the capacity building. So what are some of the training modules? There's one module on the SPX strategy, formulation, promotion and profiling. So this is in a way a more extensive module on what is provided in this lesson. It is a one-week course with a lot of interaction with the SPX staff. It's the first module that is being provided. The second module is then a module on SPX benchmarking, both covering quantitative aspects and qualitative aspects of benchmarking. This module is divided it takes 2 weeks, and the first week is a classroom training, and the second week is a live benchmarking exercise. So the trainer and the prospective SPX staff go out to the company and do live benchmarks, which is the best way to train situations or scenarios that could emerge when doing the benchmarking. And then there is a module on buyer engagement and matchmaking. So while the first two are very much on the supplier side, establishing the databases, etc., and database both for the profiles and the benchmarks, the question arises, what for? Well, the objective of these databases is to bring them to the attention of buyers with the eventual outcome of having successful matchmakings between the two. So how to reach out to buyers, how to structure understanding their procurement tactics, how to structure their procurement processes so that they can be, the information can be shared with the suppliers is something that is being tackled and addressed in this third module. And then obviously there's always continuous online and telephone support provided through the SPX division at UNIDO headquarters in Vienna. Client definition is the next section. So to understand who are the potential clients of the SPX. First of all, where does the SPX get information on the clients? These can be business directories, both available online or in printed form. So, for example, business associations have a yearly annual book on the number of companies that are part of that are members. So these could be used for getting information on potential clients. There are other company lists from chambers, associations, the government, the registration offices that give an indication on how many SMEs are in the specific subsectors for the SPX. There's also the UNIDO Investment Monitoring Platform, which is an online platform which hosts company information both at the company level, at the aggregated level. Another module, another lesson will speak about the UNIDO Investment Monitoring Platform. But again, from that platform, information can be found on the sectoral compositions of SMEs in a country. And then, if all these means have been exhausted, physical visits are another means to find out whether certain suppliers and suppliers exist in certain locations. The physical visits are really necessary if the quality of the lists that have been collected beforehand is not up to the standard required. So we see a lot of this in least developed countries where the lists are of very poor quality. And many of the companies that are listed are actually have never set up operations or they have closed down operations. So in such a case, physical visits is probably the most important way to define the clients. The selection criteria for the database, there is a few criteria that should be considered. First of all, the size of the companies. The companies should have more than five employees and should be a formal registered company. The location, where the company is located, is it easy to reach for the SPX center, can also be a criteria for the establishment of the database, where sometimes it may be more cost effective to reach out to the companies in the immediate vicinity of the center rather than going to very remote areas of the country. The ownership is the companies we are looking at for the supplier profiling are mostly domestic companies. And in some cases, some companies are already profiled or assessed through buyer initiatives or by other institutions, in which case this information should be collected. It should be structured so that the profiling of those companies may either not be necessary or maybe can be shortened. And then the companies should have at least some basic equipment and some basic machines and something like a shop floor that could be visited, and certain certifications like ISO 9000 or ISO 14000 can also be a selection criteria for the database. Let's move to the prioritization. So the prioritization can be structured according to a matrix of influence and interest. So the ones that I may prioritize are companies where there is an expressed interest to have access to the SPX services, and companies where that due to their size or due to their established networks can have a major economic influence on the country. So in that case, I would try to go for these ones as my priorities and structure my supplier visits for these first. Then there are others where there is lower levels of interest, but still their potential influence to the program can be very significant. So these ones should be the second one. Then I have companies where there is a high level of interest, but the influence may be lower. So in this case, I keep them informed, but I may perhaps focus on the other two first. And then the last one is the one where the interest is low and the influence is also relatively low. So I keep them informed because the structure can change. So some companies may become interested, so they move towards the right, or they become more influential, in which case they move upwards. So it is still important to keep these ones well informed. To give you an example of the sectoral composition of SPX Turkey, this is the size of the companies that are part of the database of SPX Turkey. There's about 2,200 overall, and the majority is small, basically between 10 and 49 companies, 40%, followed by 50 and 99 employees, about 23%, and then there is few very large companies and also equally few very small micro companies. In terms of sectors, what we see is the majority of firms is actually collected by SPX Turkey, comes from the metal sector, and as well as plastics and rubber and electronics and other sectors. Let's move to the promotion. The SPX should have a good shop window. That means it has to have a brand. It needs to be recognized by its clients. So it can do so by establishing, first of all, a good logo. Then name cards for the people working in the SPX, another aspect. Flyers and brochures about the SPX context in the given country and the host institutions, and about forthcoming activities and the benefits that could be had for SMEs to be part of the SPX. All these should be featuring in brochures and flyers. Of course, having a good website nowadays in today's globalized world and today's internet, having a good website is critical for the SPX. But still there is printed materials such as letterheads, other forms and so on that could complement the information that is on the website. And then newsletter is another way to keep the SMEs clients informed. For instance, these newsletter could be sent out every quarter, or at least twice a year, so that the SPX clients know what were new developments and new success stories. And then any kind of other presentations. So this is just a collection of materials on SPX documentation. Here we see a website for SPX South Africa. This is an example of a flyer for SPX Tanzania. This is an example of a newsletter from the SPX Uganda. And this is a logo that was designed with SPX Nigeria. The promotional channels are physical visits, mailing and emailing, going through trade fairs, organizing a small SPX stand where leaflets and promotional material is being displayed, is also a good way to reach out to SMEs and buyers. There can be seminars and launching events, press releases, and all other different sorts of advertisements for the SPX. And another way is web marketing, so such as pay-per-click or other ways of web marketing. generally, the main principle should be, before moving to international promotion, the domestic promotion should be well established first, well communicated first, before the SPX is rushing into international promotion campaigns. So, but there are very good opportunities for the SPX to present themselves at the global level. So these could be fairs such as MIDEST. MIDEST is one of the largest subcontracting fairs in the world. It is held in Paris on a yearly basis. And just to give you an example, in 2011, 1,724 companies exhibited from overall 36 countries. Then we have Hannover Messe, another very big fair where in 2011 6,500 companies participated from 65 countries. Then Subcon, another subcontracting fair in the UK, as well as other fairs. Also, the UNIDO network of investment and technology promotion offices can be used. So these are UNIDO offices that are located in developed countries such as Italy, France, UK, but also countries like China, Japan, and South Korea. And SPX could come, send a delegate from the SPX to promote in conjunction and in collaboration with these UNIDO ITPO offices to present themselves to potential international buyers. And then another way is to accompany formal outward investment promotion missions that may be set up by the investment promotion agency of a country or the ministries as they go abroad and they market opportunities at the country level. Promotion can be an income generator for the SPX Center. So we have promotional activities that constituted in a survey that was done amongst existing SPX in 2000. They account for about 42% of all the incomes generated, followed by annual fees, followed by consulting services for which companies paid, plus certain training and registration fees. So the main message here is that promotion is also a means to sustain the SPX Center. Let's now move to the operational phase, and we start with the SPX profiling. So first of all, there are several SPX functions over time. This graph shows how over 2 years the composition of activities change over time. So at the very beginning, the majority of, or the main efforts go into SPX branding, image building, which is the gray area, followed by SPX profiling, promotion and matchmaking, and establishing links to other institutions and agents for supplier development. This changes. The longer the SPX exists, the more important becomes benchmarking, and the more important become the links to other institutions and the agents, and supplier development in general. So what is the profiling phase about? First of all, creating awareness, once again, through the various means that I explained beforehand. Flyers, leaflets, press releases, etc. A good web page and so on. Then doing supplier visits. So the SPX manager and the team together for the first visit, they go together to explain the rationale of the SPX, the objectives of the SPX, and to get the buy-in of the SMEs. Then entering the information into the database that was collected during the visit, providing constant feedback to the company that participated in the profiling process. So how is this information now used for promotion? How is this information presented to buyers? So this feedback should be done through email or through telephone, so that the SPX clients keep abreast of what's happening. And then feeding suppliers with opportunity alerts. An opportunity alert is a result of the efforts of the SPX to reach out to the buyers. So the buyers may say, okay, I'm very interested in a range of items and components to have them procured locally. So this constitutes an opportunity alert that could be shared with SPX suppliers by email or by mail. Before the visit, yes, use the media channels for broad sensitization. Make sure you send an introduction email or letter before the first visit has taken place, so you can go quickly to the technical details. Make the appointment through a follow-up telephone call. Prepare the company profile form or the benchmarking form with information that was already that could have been extracted from the business directories, so that again you don't spend unnecessary time with the company to collect data that already exists and that is already publicly available. And of course, for every meeting, you should ensure punctuality, because that reflects on the professional attitude that the SPX takes on the entire exercise. Supplier visit. First visit is together with the SPX manager and the profiler. You hand over the promotional material to provide the context. If possible, you provide success stories and you communicate concrete buyer opportunities so as to raise further interest, and you spend time on the shop floor. So the SPX engineer should not just automatically fill out the supplier profiling form, but they should also make their own observations on how housekeeping, how machine layout, whether their machines are idle, whether the workers seem to be confident in handling the machines. So all these will become very important observations when a supply is being presented to a potential buyer. So the objective is clearly to complete the profile form, but yet to be flexible. If you have to, a revisit may be necessary. If the CEO or the factory manager doesn't have the time to finish the profile, well, then a second visit might be necessary. So what is the profile form then about? First of all, it collects enterprise general data. The address, not only the address of the headquarters, but also the addresses of all factories that this company has in the SPX country, and to clearly collect the contact person details. Then information about the scale of the company, the total turnover by year, the number of employees, the number of engineers, the number of managers, the covered area. So these are all scale indicators. Then next item is qualifications. Qualification means established patents, licenses, labels, approvals, etc. These patents show the innovation capacity, and the licenses show that a transfer of a particular technology that pertains to another company has taken place. Other indicators are references, so industrial references. So these are the names of selected companies for which the company has been working before, and companies that can vouch and provide a positive reference for any potential buyer in the future. And then also quality management and environment is important information collected in the profile form. the control of raw materials, control of standard conformity, and control of aftercare. After sales are issues of quality management. Environment, basically whether the company has ISO 14000 certificated and whether there are specific eco labels such as green marketing and the like. Financial information is also there, such as, again, sales, turnover, book value, etc. Partnership information: has the company any partnerships with another joint venture partner or a long-term arrangement with, say, a bank, or does it have a franchise, a license, or other subcontracting activities already ongoing? This will also be collected. Then, very important is the exact classification of the sector. And this is the ISIC classification. ISIC stands for the International Standard Industrial Classification. So it consists of a coherent and consistent classification structure of economic activities. And it has established classification rules. So, for example, there are different layers, there are sections ranging from agriculture, fishing, mining, quarrying, manufacturing, etc., describing the overall industrial activity. Then within that section you have divisions where, say, the company is defined as being a food processing company or a metal processing company. And then you have within these divisions further groupings that really describe exactly what is being manufactured. Products and processes, another very key item for the SPX profile form. So this follows the UNSPC standards. UNSPC was developed by the United Nations Development Programme, and it's the standards project, products and system classification. It also has several layers of classifying the products and processes. Then next step or next item collected in the profile form are the operations. So what kind of machinery does the subcontractor have? What kind of works is being done? What kind of raw materials and which quantity and quality is being used as raw materials is also collected in the profiling form. And then finally, any test and control equipments that the company has in place. So that means the description, the process capacity, the type and the model, the origin, the year of manufacture, the condition, the rate of utilization of the test and control equipments is also being captured in the profile form. Finally, all this information, once it is collected, will be entered to a management information system. This is a software that is deployed for the SPXs, and each SPX office can log in and enter the data online, and it can do a lot more with the software so as to process the match request for quotations, so as to really see through the entire matchmaking process by means of the software. The system also allows to define user roles. So the SPX manager has different user roles and different activities than the SPX staff. So also this can be reflected in the software system. And the management information system has an internal aspect, such as the two I've mentioned before, but it also has an external side. So for promotion and networking amongst SPXs. And there is, in fact, a supplier and buyer dashboard where suppliers and buyers can maintain their own profiles, which may substitute for always revisiting a company, because at some point the supplier and the buyers can just update existing information. But I want to mention that this management information system will be discussed in greater detail in the next module.